The Trinity College. Trinity College is the sole constituent college of the University of Dublin in Ireland. It is Ireland's most prestigious university. The college was founded in 1592 by Queen Elizabeth I. The university provides undergraduate and graduate programs in the arts and humanities, business, law, engineering, and others. The university allows students to pursue a strong academic degree while also participating in a range of cultural and social activities. Dublin's Writers' Museum opened its doors in November 1991. The museum is located in an authentic 18th century house that accommodates the museum rooms, library, gallery, and administrative area. The museum is small, but it seeks to provide a crash course in Irish literature that will captivate tourists who have never heard of Irish authors. The Dublin Writers' Museum also has a bookshop. The Dublin Castle. Dublin Castle is the heart of historic Dublin. It is one of the most important buildings in Irish history. King John of England built it in the 13th century. For 700 years, it served as a military castle, prison, treasury, court of law, and center of English administration in Ireland. It is now utilized for major state functions, including presidential inauguration. After a fire in 1684 destroyed much of the medieval castle, the magnificent state apartments were built as the residential quarters of the viceregal court. The tower and medieval undercroft remain from the original 13th century castle. The beautiful gardens of Dublin Castle have been preserved since the 17th century. St. Patrick's Cathedral. St. Patrick's Cathedral has been part of Ireland's history for over 800 years, and today is one of the most popular visitor attractions in Dublin. It was built between 1220 and 1260 in honor of Ireland's patron saint. St. Patrick's Cathedral offers visitors a rich and compelling cultural experience and is one of the few buildings left from the medieval Dublin. St. Patrick baptized Christian converts on this site 1,500 years ago. The cathedral plays host to a number of public national ceremonies. Ireland's Remembrance Day ceremonies, hosted by the Royal British Legion and attended by the President of Ireland, take place there every November. Its carol service, celebrated twice in December, including every 24 December, is a colorful feature of Dublin life. Epic Emigration Museum. Epic, the Irish Emigration Museum, is housed in the historic CHQ building in Dublin's Docklands. The museum's site, beside the Irish Famine Memorial, is symbolic of Ireland's emigration, and Epic is the world's only totally digital museum, bringing incredible stories to life in a unique way. Throughout the museum's 20 galleries interact with screens, movies, and sounds. And be sure to stamp your passport to take home with you. Famine Memorial. The Famine Memorial was unveiled in 1997. The sculptures depict emaciated men and women plodding down the river's bank, their faces etched with anguish, despair, and tenacity. The bronze sculptures also include a famished dog strolling behind the people to emphasize the point. They are one of Ireland's most photographed public art installations. The Jeanie Johnston Ship. The Jeanie Johnston tells the story of hundreds of Irish people fleeing the famine and embarking on a risky journey to North America in the hope of a better life. Ireland was ravaged by the Great Famine in 1845, which lasted until 1852. Starvation and sickness resulted from the failure of the potato harvest in the surge in food prices, killing between 1 and 1.5 million people and forcing another 1 million to escape the country. Oscar Wilde's house and statue. Oscar Wilde was a dramatist, writer, poet, and critic. He is one of the most important Victorian playwrights. The stone Wilde currently sits in calm repose in Merrion Square Park, looking out at his boyhood house where he grew up. Jonathan Swift and St. Patrick's Cathedral. Anglo-Irish poet, satirist, and essayist Jonathan Swift was born in Dublin, Ireland. He is best known as the author of A Modest Proposal or Gulliver's Travels. He spent much of his early adult life in England before returning to Dublin to serve as a dean of St. Patrick's Cathedral for the last 30 years of his life. Today, the cathedral holds many artifacts connected to Swift's time in the cathedral. These include the pulpit from which he preached his long sermons and a table used by Swift to celebrate the Eucharist in his church at Laracor. G. B. Shaw's statue. George Bernard Shaw was an Irish legend who was a dramatist, literary critic, and socialist advocate. In 1925, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature.
Well, here we are, you and me, in the National Gallery of Ireland. I don't know how long you're sticking around for, but I think I'm here for the long haul. I had a very long life myself, 94 years of it, but my bronze self will probably outlast the original me.
Shaw's life-size bronze statue, which stands outside the gallery's Clare Street entrance, was created by Russian artist Paolo Trobietsky. James Joyce statue. James Joyce is commemorated in a life-size bronze statue on North Earl Street. Joyce wrote extensively about his homeland, mainly Dublin. Dubliners, his short story collection, and Ulysses, his greatest masterpiece, are both situated in Dublin, making it an appropriate location for him to be honored. James Joyce Tower and Museum. The James Joyce Tower was built to withstand an invasion by Napoleon and now holds a museum devoted to the life and works of James Joyce. He made the tower the setting for the first chapter of his masterpiece Ulysses. Samuel Beckett's Bridge. Samuel Beckett, a Dublin native who received the Nobel Prize for Literature, is commemorated by the bridge. The bridge officially opened in 2009. It is Dublin's second youngest structure. The bridge was designed by architect Santiago Calatrava. Shepherd's pie. Accordingly, housewives back then were looking for ways to incorporate leftovers that husbands and kids would turn up their noses at. While shepherd's pie certainly came about as a way to put those leftovers to good use, the results were delicious. Recipes vary widely, but have the same basic structure. Irish step dance. The roots of Irish step dancing come from the Celts and the Druids who roamed the island before the onset of Christianity. Irish step dance is a style of performance dance generally characterized by a stiff upper body and fast and precise movements of the feet. Irish clothing. Contrary to popular belief, the kilt does not only belong to the Scots, it is also proudly worn in Ireland by a population wishing to preserve its cultural heritage. It takes the form of a large woolen cloth more than 16 yards or 24 meters long, wrapped around the waist and which forms a succession of deep folds. Vikings and the Christ Church Cathedral. Despite their strong pagan beliefs, many Vikings who settled in Ireland grew to adopt Christianity so much that it was the Vikings Norse king of Dublin himself who, alongside the coins, ordered the construction of the Christ Church Cathedral in 1028 AD, and it holds enormous religious significance to this day. It was rebuilt in stone in the late 12th century under the Norman potentate Strongbow and considerably enlarged in the early 13th century using Somerset stones and craftsmen. A partial collapse in the 16th century left it in poor condition, and the building was extensively renovated and rebuilt in the late 19th century, giving it the form it has today, including the tower, flying buttresses, and distinctive covered footbridge. Bono Vox. Bono was born Paul David Hewson in the Rotunda Hospital in Dublin in 1960. He was raised in the north side suburb of Finglas. Bono is an Irish musician who joined the band U2 while he was still in high school. U2 are an Irish rock band from Dublin formed in 1976. Their lyrics, often embellished with spiritual imagery, focus on personal and socio-political themes. Popular for their performances, the group have staged several ambitious and elaborate tours over their career. The song that made U2 famous is called Beautiful Day.